Everybody needs to move. If you can't walk, if you can't run, you walk. If you can't walk, do something else. Move something. Move anything. I have a friend whose whole family moves. We've got her in here today. This is Charlotte.
Hi, Maggie. I have to move to keep up with my daughters. One of the things we like to do is to jog while we're watching television because we just don't like to sit there.
That's wonderful. I try to talk everybody into that. You run outside, too, don't you, Helen?
Yeah.
You like
to run.
You like to run better outside?
And I have to run because sometimes there's
Good.
gangs where we have to
Good.
run.
Does Edith run, too?
Yeah.
How much do you run, Edith?
Now, we have, in school, we have about a half an hour of play, and then I run all that time, and I try to move all the time I can.
Good. And does your daddy run, too?
Well, Maggie, you know, I work in an office, and I find that it helps a lot if I jump around a little bit once a day.
Yeah, well, I've seen you walking to work all the time.
Well, I do it
quite often on foot.
About 2/3 of a mile.
That's great. And Ray, you do the same thing, don't you?
I sometimes run to work.
That's great.
I used to run to work about every day.
Yeah.
I had the stopwatch to see whether it was going any faster.
Oh.
Well, the stopwatch would stop halfway there, so I gave that.
Everybody needs to move. Everybody. If you can't walk, if you can't run, you walk. If you can't walk, you hop. You may need to. If you end up like I have someday. Look what I've done. I've sprained my ankle. You know, really, you should be able to move some way, no matter what happens to you. Always, you know, you take into consideration the part you're not supposed to move and move something else. I'm keeping off this as much as I can. First of all, these muscles that we're working on today are the muscles that are down here. You know, this is, if you exercise through here, you stay very slim, and it's really kind of surprising because there are 3 layers of muscles through here. This is called the girdle of Apollo. Isn't that a nice name? That's because Apollo is a god of physical beauty. He's a god of well-being. These are all very closely connected. And also the averter of ills and the friend of all beautiful things in life. Isn't that lovely? And they all really tie in together. Let's try some of the exercises. Come down. I promised to stay off my ankle. I did promise to stay off my ankle as much as possible. Okay, come over on the one side. And just bounce your feet up and down. Put your feet down first. Let's do a few easier ones. Come down over to your shoulder and up. Keep your knees bent a little. If these are hard, then just do what you can. Just lean back a little way, this way. Just as far as you can.
This is a good one for watching TV.
It is. It's a what? Oh, Edith has a special exercise she wants to show us. Okay, you go ahead and do it. Okay, and over to the other side. Good,
Wow.
good. That's what you call pliable. Those are beautiful exercises. That's really nice, Edith.
I wish I could
Okay,
do it.
try this one over to the other side. You know, infants and children are always very, very flexible. We train it out of them. And it's by not treating them right, by, you know, putting them into schools where they just sit for hours. If you just let kids run the way they naturally will, they stay beautifully flexible. It's really a shame to ever, you know, it's kind of crippling them. It's a shame. Okay, over onto the other side. If you're in better condition, these aren't bothering you, pull your knees up a little closer. Make it harder on yourself. Okay, fold your hands, put them across your belly, and roll over to touch one elbow and then the other, but stay on your side. Stay on one side. And just move your arms around. So first one elbow touches and then the other.
That gives a good pull.
Helen, can you get over a little bit more on your side? Okay, over to the other side. These are all for these muscles right down the side. These are to twist you and to turn you and to help you bear down. and to help you breathe, to help you pull your belly in.
How should we be breathing during these?
Any way you can. You should never, though, hold your breath. Never hold your breath. That's very, very important. So one thing you should be careful, always, always breathe as naturally as you can. Some people don't know that they have high blood pressure, and they do. If you ever begin to get dizzy, always stop and then start again if you're, later on something easier or when you've stopped being dizzy. Okay? Roll down to touch one shoulder and up. If these are too hard, then just do what you can. All you have to do is sit up, lean back as far as you can, and pull back up this way again if it's hard. Or put your legs out a little bit further. If you're a little stronger, then you can get up there and work at double the speed, or pull your knees up further. Just anything you can manage. Having fun, Edith?
I need to
have to keep my feet out. Keep from overbalancing.
Yeah. Well, that's because, men do have more trouble with their balance on this type of exercise because they're heavier through the shoulders. So if you men are wondering why you're toppling over backwards, that's why. Be pleased. It means you've got good broad shoulders. Men are really stronger through the shoulders than women. I have seen, though, women who are well-trained pitted against men who haven't had any training. I have seen do more work with their shoulders. That's kind of a shame, because men can always, if they're in good condition, be stronger than women. That reminds me, so I was talking to someone today that I swear if he ever meets me is going to flip me over onto the floor. All he could think about was that, what a great thing it would be to compete. He wanted to know if I could bench press many pounds as he could, and if I could arm wrestle him. And I kept saying, you don't want to compete with other people. Compete with yourself. Every day you should try to be a little better than you were the day before. But he really wanted to compete. I don't want to be stronger than any man. Not ever. Not for any reason. I'm happy.
Any woman can compete. What? Any woman can almost compete with a man in carrying packages. Their arms they can carry packages.
You mean because of the carrying angle?
They have more persistence in their muscles.
Now, elbows, give me the paper. I'd love to read it. Now, information is what I want. If you've got that, I'd love to have it.
I haven't seen it written down.
Well, I'd like to see it because I don't have any evidence for that in any of the books I'm reading. Come down to touch one elbow to the floor. Stay over on your side as far as you can. This is a hard one.
Oh,
Remember, if you can't make it, just come down as far as you can.
Can you do that, Helen?
That's a hard one, isn't it?
Impossible.
We've been working on doing things and keeping our neck straight. This is a new twist.
The new twist is exactly what it is. Beginners, really, if these are tough for you, don't try to do too much. It's not important how much you do. It's, that you build up little by little. You just do one more each day. It really doesn't make any difference how much you do. It's just that you do a little bit more each time.
You sit on my feet, and then I can do this. Sit down on my feet.
That's another way that I think kids are really mistreated in the schools, because in a lot of the exercise programs, what they do is have young children competing against each other, where even the littlest bit of a failure will turn them off exercising or moving for the rest of their life, and that's a shame. You really need to give kids something where they can all be as good as they can be without competing with other people when they're young. Give them the confidence first. That's the most important thing. Okay. Now, come up on your side with your... You want a little rest first?
No, I don't.
You okay? Does anybody want a little rest?
No, I'm happy.
Why don't you have just one good stretch before we go on? Put your legs out this way and put your hands over on your feet. And come down. Now, on all of these exercises, those of you who have hernias, there's one way of looking at it that's very simple. You've ripped your girdles. That is your girdle. These muscles that hold you in place. And if you've ripped your girdle, there's nothing you can do about it. You just can't do these exercises. So please, if you have a hernia, just don't get near these. There are some of them that we'll be doing later that also you have to be careful about with your knees. Just in general, always try and exercise gently to see if it's okay for you before you go any further.
That's beautiful, Edith.
Okay, bring your knees up a little and see how far under your knee you can come with the opposite arm. And over to the other side. And over. Over. Okay, now let's go back to some hard ones. These, I like hard exercise. You always still, just do what you can. Don't worry about it. If they're too hard, remember, they'll be back. They'll be back. You can try more the next time. But right now, just do what you can easily. If you need to, lean back on your arms. But if you can, just stay up on your side and do them. Okay? Just let your legs go back and forth, crisscrossing each other. Stay over on one side as far as you can. Really try to stay way up on your side. Remember, if they're too tough, just put your hands back on the floor this way the first few times. And I know some of you are so out of shape that even that with your arms back is going to make it very tough. Just do one or two, and tomorrow you can do more. Over onto the other side, and do the same thing.
I'll have you do more practice.
I bet you can do it without your arms on the floor. Sure you can. Musical chairs.
Well, we'll keep trying.
You know, there's one set of words that have always pleased me very much. You've heard the word disease. Do you ever think about taking it apart into ease and dis-ease? It's exactly what it means. When you're uncomfortable with your body, that's dis-ease. That's why it's so important to keep these muscles strong, because they take care of an awful lot of things for you. Okay, legs up, arms up, and now both arms and legs up and down. On your side, on your side.
Oh, brother.
I know a lot of you can't do these. Don't worry. Put your hands on the floor behind you and bring them up and down. It's not important what you can do now. It's what you can do today and tomorrow and the next day.
I'm worried about trying these tomorrow.
You don't think you'll be able to move tomorrow?
Well, you know, Maggie, I put our television so we don't have any chairs in front of it to remind us to do these when we're
That's
watching.
great. You really do keep all your hip and thigh muscles in great shape if you don't use chairs at all. Just sit on the floor all the time.
Maybe we should take chairs out of school.
Yeah, would that be nice? That'd be really beautiful. Give them carpeting instead.
Right.
If it gets to be too much for you, stop. You should see, they've all stopped. No, you know, really, if it is too hard, and that is a hard one, then you just stop and rest and go on when there's, you know, something you can do again. And it's having a lot of running here today. Over onto the other side again. Put your hands behind your head and bring your knees in and out. Now, as you bring this knee up, twist. But stay over on your side while you do it. I lost my balance. Over on the other side. You know, it really gets to be fun with these. You really can compete with yourself. And if I say, keep telling you over and over again, you always watch for anything that feels painful. And then you go on and do, you know, something else that's a little simpler. We're going to do that on the other side, and then we'll give you some resting things, okay? Come over this way again, and again. Legs in and out. And now start your arms going to the opposite side of your knee. Okay. I don't want to wear you out too fast. Okay? Come down with your arms between your legs. And now put your hands behind your head and come down. Isn't that an easier one? Try to bring your elbows close to the opposite knee as you can. Can you get that? Good.
If I can even touch the floor, it's something.
All you have to do is try. That's all anybody ever expects of you on any of these. You just do your best. Okay. Legs out. Another simple one. This is a nice, easy one. You do what you can with it, but don't worry if it isn't going to put you in a position where you have to strain hard. You do it just as much as you can, as well as you can.
That's a good one.
Okay, take your right arm and swing it around to your left leg and swing the other one up overhead. And try to come down to the other foot. And then over to the other side. Very gently. And over. Those of you who aren't in very good condition, especially those of you who have bad backs, you watch for the way your back feels. Watch for the way everything feels. If you ever run into anything painful, just take it easy. Wait for another exercise.
Fine,
What?
my back is fine, but I don't seem to bend very well at the waist.
That really takes time. You know, there are individual differences, but there also are, if you aren't used to moving, then you lose flexibility. But that always comes back. Whoops. Back up, Ray, back up. Reach out and just bounce down a little.
This is a good one for you, Edie.
Oh, that's you, my neighborhood.
So how about if we get up and join Edie instead? Okay, up. You know, one thing that will do you a lot of good and work on these muscles for you without you having to, pay a lot of attention to it is every day, just like that daily sit-up as you get out of bed, this is a daily putting on your shoes without sitting down. You put them on standing up. Let's all try it. I'm just going to try one so I don't bother my sprained ankle. I'll even use my cane. That's for the doctor.
Your shoes, Edie.
No, I'm being very good, honest.
I didn't know we were going to do that, so I brought along my boots. I don't have to
all right.
bend
That makes
over
it
as
even
far
better.
as
Okay. Well, now you see, I'm not using my bad. Well, I shouldn't try to balance because of my bad ankle. So just the rest of you do the work, and I'll just
Do we keep the shoe on
make
the floor?
believe. What?
Should we lift the
Lift
foot?
it up. And keep your balance while you lift up this way.
No.
You want to keep it on for a long time? You don't have to. All you have to do is put it on and take it off again.
My boot, if I don't have a sock on, it makes my foot sweaty.
I know it does. That feels awful, doesn't it? You ever gotten water, splashed a puddle and gotten water in your boot? No, the water would go the wrong way. Well, sometimes, somehow, the water gets in. It feels awful. Okay, good. Come on over to the wall and try these.
I never knew my feet felt so good in bare feet.
Stand out a little way from the wall and reach in with your hip on one side to touch and in with the hip on the other side. Everybody can do these to some extent, even if you have to stand in very close and do it this way. But everybody can do that one. If your back is really too stiff for that one, then you really need to get to work. Calvin, weren't you telling me you were having trouble with your back once?
Well, yes, about a dozen years ago, I had trouble, sort of a small pain in the back, and it made a nuisance when I was traveling carrying suitcases. And I found that just a little bit of bending each day, just like this,
That's great.
and bending over.
That's wonderful.
And that's all it took. It
Yeah.
made it go away.
You know, that's what's so amazing, because all it takes is just a little bit each day to keep yourself free of all the aches
As a
and
matter of
pains that
fact,
usually creep up on you.
I generally don't feel very good during the day if I don't bend a little and jump around in the morning.
That believe me, I feel rotten over weekends when I don't move. It really makes me feel terrible. And, that isn't because you go downhill. That's because shift your hips from side to side. That's because once you get used to moving, you become much more aware of just how you do feel. If you start with your hips going from side to side, and then just let your arms go to the opposite side, then it works.
It's like that go-go girl dancing you were doing, Helen.
This is, again,
Edie,
twisting
can you be a go-go girl?
all these muscles. Good. That's the way I'd like to be doing it.
What Helen's doing.
Be a go-go girl. That's it.
Okay, let's try another one.
Figure it
With your
out.
feet just a little bit apart for balance. Stoop and reach your hands to the backs of your heels.
Fifty.
That really doesn't hurt my ankle.
Maybe I can take my opposite hand. Opposite.
That's right.
Good.
That's it, Edie.
That's great.
Can you feel the bending? What this does is just pull you around this way, so all these muscles have to work as you come down, and then as you bend more, it makes them work even harder. So you're getting all the movements in there at once as you twist and flex at the same time. Okay? Let's try some. You ready for rest? Try some down on the floor now. Come down and put your feet apart. This one is harder in a slightly different way.
Come on, you try this.
I'll give you an easy one first. A nice easy one first. Arms out straight by your sides. Bring your knees up to your chest. And bring both knees down underneath one armpit. Feet two, and then over to the other side. Isn't that easy?
Oh, that's a nice
Over. Oh, come on, it's easy. And over.
Well, it really is easy compared to the others.
And over. And over.
I get home.
Over. And over. Now, how about a hard one? This one's a little bit harder. If you are one of the people who have trouble with your back staying on the floor when you lift your legs up and let them down this way, don't do this exercise because this is a hard one for the lower back. If you can keep your back down, then what you do is lift your legs out this way and come down to touch and down. It's over catty corner, so you're bringing your legs out about 12, 14 inches from the center. And this uses all the muscles down your side again in a slightly different way. Remember, nobody with a ripped girdle, nobody with a hernia is allowed to do these. If you lift your head up, it makes it easier because it works your abdominal muscles a little bit harder. Hard? Let's try that one in a slightly different way. This, again, is an excellent one for the side muscles. If they're too hard, just do one or two, and then relax. Don't worry about it. You know, that's really the way you're supposed to do it. Okay, arms out flat. Bring your knees up to your chest and your legs up straight. Now, if you can't let your legs down without them falling, then don't let them down. You know, just bring them back up. If you can, let both legs down over to your right hand and up and over to your left hand.
Maggie, I can put my legs
over
my head.
And over.
Pitch them over my head.
And over and over. Okay? You know, these muscles are set in such a way that the muscles on the outside, the top layer, come down from around under the ribs and come down slanting outwards this way and come to about this point. The ones coming up underneath that start at the hip and come up and slant this way. So you've got, you know, the strength to twist in both directions, and then the layer right underneath comes around this way, crossway. So you've got three-way strength. Three-way girdle. You really do. It's really built into you. There's no reason why you can't keep it in good condition unless you've got a hernia. And I think that may be because you didn't keep it in good condition earlier. Okay, so
Maggie?
Now let's, yeah?
This morning when I got up,
I can't hear you.
stretched up like this
Yeah?
instead of stretching the regular way.
Yeah, that's fun. That feels good. Okay. Come down. And again, bring your legs up. Now this is a little different. Put your feet down on the floor. Try to keep the small of your back down tight. Let your legs go out slanty-wise. Just let your feet slide out along the floor. Hold your back down tight. Lift your feet up about 4 inches and hold tight. If your back comes up, lift your head up. Try and keep it down. Remember that you have to really work hard to keep the small of your back down all the time. If it comes up, you're working the wrong muscles. Let your feet down. You know, everybody feels most of their lives very young inside. And then, you know, someday you wake up and you look in the mirror and you're horrified at what you see because you don't look the way you feel at all. Your body just all of a sudden, you know, is dissolved while you weren't watching. You can always get it back to some extent if you're willing to work, and it doesn't take that long. It's really time to get to work for everybody. It's always time to get to work. Let's try that one again. That's good, Ray. That's great. Let them slide out again. Lift them up a little. And bouncing them is very good, Ray. I like to do that. But keep the small of your back down tight. Don't let the small of your back up. It's very important. And relax. Okay, with your arms out and your feet out, spread eagle. Come up and over along one leg and down and up. Roll up slowly. Try not to swing up too hard. And down And up and over, swing over as far as you can, as flat down along your leg as you can. You know, everybody in the way they live should try to work in things that keep them moving and keep them active all the time. You really need this kind of movement for almost everything. Do you know that if you let your belly muscles go, that the blood tends to pool in the abdominal region? That it completely changes your digestion. It can give you all kinds of diseases that you just don't ordinarily have if you keep the muscles in good tone and keep them working all the time. It really changes your entire life, and who wants to have their life changed when they can keep moving? Down again. Take both arms and come up along the one foot and stretch over as far as you can. And down. And up over the other foot.
You should be good at that, Noah.
And down.
Can you do that,
And
Edie?
up.
I'll show her.
Well, let's see. And down.
I might not be good at
And
this
down.
now.
Ray, I haven't heard a sound from you. Are you still with us?
Worn out.
Are you worn out?
Sure.
Are you really not used to doing this much?
Not these particular exercises.
Come on, Ray. You're younger
We've got
than
to
I
get
am.
on
You
it.
should be able to do
Can you
it.
imagine that? We're really going to have to work on it.
What I do is I sort of make them up as I go along, and I guess
Yeah.
I haven't made these up.
You know,
I think if you don't get help like this, you tend to do sort of like ballet, the torso straight and moving the arms and legs, but no stretching and
You know,
bending.
that's the truth. Is most people forget the trunk.
The
They
tummy
tend to leave it out, and
stretchers.
it's the twisting and turning of the trunk muscles that you need.
Yeah.
That's where you really need flexibility more than any other place. Everybody uses the arms and legs, but very few people learn to use the trunk muscles. It really makes a difference. You chase her around all day.
I couldn't keep up with her at that.
Okay. Legs up a little and lean back.
See if you can do this one, Edie.
Come over to one side and just lift and lower your arms. Stay right there. Bring your legs up a little closer if you can.
It's too easy.
Lean back a little.
You're supposed to lean back more.
We got her. We got her.
Edie, you know, I
Okay,
have the
now
same
over
problem.
from one side to the other. You know, there's one more. We have to do one very special one. I like these anyway, for pulling the belly way in, because these are important for that third set of muscles. Lie down on your back. Now, with your arms out overhead, inhale, exhale, and pull your belly way in.
Oh,
And relax.
my face.
That exercise you should do at least 2 or 3 times every day. It's really important. Okay, up on your bottom and walk. These are great for your side muscles, and if you bring your arms down this way, I really forgot something very important. Bring your arms
You need a
down
straw
to touch
hat,
the floor on either side. And walk along. Touch the floor on either side as you go. Good, that's good, Helen. I promised the doctor I'd use my cane.